It's amazing how you start adding this up and it all makes sense. So remember the walls? Okay, the walls, it's so obvious now. It's so obvious. So the walls, okay, is pure fives, pure joy. Well, the windows is the same thing. But there's a very famous trio, like in both, the HWS. So this is so obvious now. The walls and the windows exist for your joy, just like the door. But what do the walls and the windows have in common? It's the famous HWS, as in, you know, the washing. So watch this. There's your joy in the bookends between the walls and the windows. There's your 50 points right there. And then here's your half a joy right here. And then in the center, 46, oh my, the word wind. My goodness. The word wind, we know the wind is a joy. The wind is 50, and then you get a bonus 15. Isn't that mind-blowing? So remember, the walls equals joy, double joy, 100. The windows was joy, joy, half a joy plus 15, 140. But it's obvious the message from God. The walls and the windows exist for your joy. Okay? God is the existing one. This just keeps getting more and more obvious. Just you can look at this. And you can push this higher. But I'm here to solve the obvious. Joy. There's your 25, 25 joy. And then in the center here, okay, is more fives, 60, no less. Okay. The existing one. God's joy in being the existing one. But there you go. So, man, this just keeps getting more obvious. So remember how we solved the door and the hinges? Well, I'm going to really hit this out of the park for you. Look at what God ordained, the walls and the hinges, like the hinges on the door. Look, an H differs from a W by 15 points. Exactly, 555. So you put this together, and you get the famous 35. Ing is a famous 5. There's a 5. 20, 5. So, but the exact same thing in the hinges, two fives, the walls, the windows. Why does it all exist? For your joy. Okay? So, 35, 55, 60, 65, 95 for the hinges. The door, plain and simple, as a single word, was 85. As a single. Okay. And we talked about that. The door equals the heart, equals the earth, equals the pearl. Okay. Jesus says, I stand at the door and knock. The door equals the heart. Okay. But again, it's pure joy. And again, a very beautiful construct with this triangle thing. Take the bookends, put it together with the H, and then all this stuff divides by 5 left over. This, 30. Very obvious. So they're all the same with this triangle 5 fest and symmetry. You could collect this whole thing with it if you want, but the door. Okay. So yeah, if you were to write this string horizontally, just collect all the bookend or the centers together. So yeah, the door, the hinges, the walls, the windows, they all exist for your joy. The carpets, this is a glaring one. The carpets, it just keeps getting more and more embarrassing. How obvious this all is. Look, what does the carpets have in common with the walls and the hinges? Well, the C is 20 points less than a W, a multiple of 5. And it's 5 points less than an H, a multiple of 5. So that means that, again, this triangle of letters all divides by 5. Here it's 30. Now, what I wanted to point out with the carpets is the obvious famous TE double, which is 25, 25 joy. And then the rest all knits together. You could have gone that route, which is what I did initially, but I just want to point out that this is all identical. Okay, so you have joy plus another 30 plus another 35. Okay, so 115. Okay, There you go. I've just hit some biggies for you. Okay. Amazing. It just keeps getting crazier and crazier, as it should. The sheen. But it all exists for your joy. Amazing.